It is now a great honor for me to introduce the grandson of the founder of the American Legion, Theodore Roosevelt IV. His grandfather was Teddy Roosevelt Jr., the founder of the American Legion. He is a Legionnaire from Post 1 in New York. Ladies and gentlemen, Theodore Roosevelt IV.
Commander, ladies and gentlemen, what a pleasure it is to be here. Now, you will learn today that it's a dangerous thing to give a microphone to a Roosevelt. We are genetically endowed with leather lungs, and we like to talk. Now, as most of you know, I have been deeply honored, and I'm humbled by a resolution that I hope you're going to pass to become chair of your honorary committee. And I also am delighted to give to you a portrait painted of my grandfather. Last week, I received an extraordinary letter, and it initially doesn't have a lot to do with TR Jr. or with the American Legion, but it is totally relevant to what you guys do and you ladies do. Edmund Morris, researching in dusty alcoves in a building in New York City, came across a letter written by a 14-year-old in the 8th grade who had been charged by his teacher to write an essay about the old lion, President Roosevelt. How that letter managed to survive, I don't know. Edmund Morris doesn't know. But it is the last sentence in his 3rd volume on his trilogy of TR. And the sentence, the last line is, as part of the class exercise paying tribute to the late Colonel, Thomas Mayer wrote, he was a fulfiller of good intentions. His son read your magazine and learned a little bit about me. And that line, I think, can be said of the American Legion. The intentions that you are fulfilling are those of the American people for their servicemen and women. The American Legion that TR Jr. wanted it to be. A nonpartisan advocate for our military personnel, fulfilling our best and most honorable intentions for the men and women who serve. The needs of our military change in many ways, but they remain the same in many ways. But hard economic times, as your commander mentioned, and some of the hardest service that we've seen from our veterans need you more than ever. You know all of the difficulties that the veterans face. And we don't want to hear more stories like the one of a vet who had to take his case to the Yale Medical School for a private diagnosis of TBI because the VA wouldn't let him be seen by a neurologist. You know that. You know what the charge is. We know what we have to do. And every vet who slips through the cracks is an indictment of our society, and we have to ensure that that doesn't happen. So I am enormously thankful that the American Legion is such a stalwart organization that is already in place and in play, rising to the occasion as it has throughout its storied history. So thank you all very much, and I can't tell you how humbled I am to look forward to working with you as you prepare for your centennial.
Mr. Commander, I'd like to present present resolution number 1 if I could.
Yes, sir.
Before I read resolution number 1, I'd like to ask that Theodore Roosevelt IV come out with us beside the portrait. And I'd like to ask Boss Benoble, Chairman of the 100th Anniversary Committee, to be out here with us. Resolution 1, titled, Theodore Roosevelt IV be appointed Chairman of the American Legion's 100th Anniversary Observance Honorary Chairman Committee. Whereas Theodore Roosevelt Jr. envisioned a veteran service organization that would be composed of men and women who had honorably served in the United States Armed Forces during wartime. And whereas the organization he envisioned and helped found will be built on the compassion for veterans, their families, community service, patriotic values, strong national defense, the wholesome development of young people, and camaraderie. And whereas the organization would be community-based without regard for military rank, branch of service, duty station, social standing, or political persuasion. And whereas the American Legion was born of that vision and quickly grew to become and remains today the largest and most powerful, influential of all U.S. veteran service organizations. And whereas the American Legion's 100th anniversary draws near and will be celebrated between August 2018 and November 2019. And whereas a Vietnam veteran with service in the United States Navy as a SEAL and a member of the American Legion, Theodore Roosevelt IV is the grandson of Theodore Roosevelt Jr. and upholds the values that have made the organization relevant and vibrant and effective for nearly a century. And whereas the American Legion's 100th Anniversary Observance Committee recommends the formation an honorary committee of distinguished Americans who have connected to the roots of the organization or have been greatly influenced by some aspect of it. And whereas this resolution has been reviewed and approved by the American Legion National Internal Affairs Commission, the National Finance Commission, both whom recommend it to the National Executive Committee. And therefore now be it resolved that Theodore Roosevelt IV shall be appointed to serve as chairman of the American Legion's 100th Anniversary Observance Honorary Committee, and be it further resolved that Theodore Roosevelt IV shall recommend to the 100th Anniversary Observance Committee for appointment through established procedures 12 members who are connected to the roots of this organization or have been greatly influenced by some aspect of it, to join him on the honorary committee, which will meet at the call of the national commander and hear reports about observance activities and offer guidance to the 100th Anniversary Committee. And be it finally resolved that Theodore Roosevelt IV, in recognition of this appointment, along with his grandfather's legacy and his gratitude for donating the American Legion's National Headquarters, the original training, Brigadier General Theodore Roosevelt, 1887-1944, by T.A. Devenish, be made a life member of the American Legion. This has the approval of the 100th Anniversary Committee, the Internal Affairs Commission, the Finance Commission, the Subcommittee on Resolutions, and Mr. Commander, I move for the approval of this resolution.
You heard the motion? Any question? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Carried. First, I want to present you with your cap, Post 1 in New York. your diamond lapel pin.
Thank you.
We know you already have your membership card, but here is a life membership card.
Thank you very much.
And here's a copy of his resolution that was just read, signed by me as National Commander of the American Legion, attested by Daniel S. Wheeler, National Army.
Thank you, Ken.